Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Saturday Night WrestleManiacs, where we have one fall, no time limit. It's a conversation between the man from Southeast DC, weighing in at 279 pounds, the Midnight Rider, and in the other corner, the man, the myth, the legend. They call him the Nubian Sumo from parts unknown. Ladies and gentlemen, Saturday Night WrestleManiacs. Konnichiwa, bitches. Let's go.
And yes, I am the Nubian Sumo. Just finished his month-long international intergalactic celebration of sumo, the birth of the man you see before you today. 320 pounds of brown-eyed soul. It's just so sweet. That's your thumbnail right there. That's your thumbnail right there.
All right, Nubian. So we just talked about some other things, but now we gotta let you have your time. We gotta let the Nubian Sumo shine in the greatest moment in all of wrestling podcast land. And I think they call this segment "That's Just Sumo."
That's just Nubian.
That's just Nubian.
This whole show tonight is
right.
That's Just Nubian. And why is that per se? Because I went not one, but two pay-per-views as a winner. 2 in a row. See, for those who need to catch up with what's going on, whenever we do, go ahead. So, sure, go ahead.
All right. So let me see if I can do this right and do this proper. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Midnight Rider, and I want to introduce you to the two-time wrestling predictions champion, the man, the myth, the legend, the best there is, the best there was, the best there will be, the Nubian Sumo. They can't bring you in like
that. We're just gonna be silent for a minute, for just a minute. You know, it's okay. Just soak that in. You know, just breathe in that acknowledgement.
Oh, hold up. If I don't know if my blurred screen is gonna do it, but you know what I'll give you? I'll give you a 1. I'll give you a 1.
Yes. Excellent. And it goes so well. That 1 goes so well with this Davidoff Colorado Claro that I have here. Very special cigar. I bought this cigar off of a gentleman last year who purchased this cigar on his own back in 2018. This sat in his humidor for 5 years before it was sold to me. And that's been at least a year ago. So yes, they've changed the blend on this cigar at least twice since this cigar came out. So this cigar is no longer made. It's special that's for a special occasion like today. And also, how can you have? And I'm gonna place you down just for a little while, sweetheart. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. I know. Don't worry about it. You'll be back. You'll be back. But in order to go with a special cigar, you have to have a special drink to go with it. And just coming out this past May, in its limited editionness, we have the 10th edition, the 10th anniversary edition of Blood Oath. Only 10,000 bottles made of this elixir of the gods. And I have 2 of them. This is a blend of 3 different whiskeys. One 8-year, one 8-year, one 12-year, one 15-year, all blended together and finished in Merlot and Cabernet Franc casks. Now, Mr. Thompson, one of our great fans here that hangs out with us on a regular basis, has already tried this and given me his review on it, and I need to give mine. So, oh my God, you can taste the Merlot in it. No burn. A slight burn, but a pleasant burn. Mm. You know how weed smokers, they get that hit of good weed,
yeah,
and they just start coughing out of control.
Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
That's what this is doing to me. This is wonderful.
But that's a nice coffee brown.
Beautiful. This is out of all the 10 that I've had, and I've had all 10. This is definitely top 3.
Okay.
No doubt top 3. It doesn't beat 5. 5 would be the best to me.
So let's do
and
the
then okay, so it would be pack 5, number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 would be pack 2.
Okay.
Me. And then this one.
So then we gotta get a 4th because Mount Rushmore has 4 heads. Pause.
Okay, so if we're gonna put a no Diddy, right? Okay, and
and we don't mean for this to be the bottom, no Diddy.
Right, exactly. I'll say number 4.
Okay.
Number 4 would be next. Would be on the next on that list. But yes, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. I'm always happy when Lux Row announces that they've released it. It's very hard to find because not everybody is picking it up, and it's hard to get at a decent price, at a reasonable price, because people like to know that how popular it is and likes to bounce the price up so high. Like there's one place that I would usually get it from here in the DC area. They wanted to charge me $350 for it.
Oh wow.
No. You can't charge me $350 for a bottle that just came out when the bottle from last year has appreciated to $400.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of I understand. I get it. It's a limited release. Not too many people are going to be carrying it. Not too many people are going to have a lot of it. So, I mean, I get your money while you can. I ain't gonna knock your hustle. But in the words of a great poet, I don't know what you heard about me, but you can't get a dollar out of me. No lacks, no perms you can see. Cause I'm a motherfucking PIMP.
Oh, let's go. I don't even know where to go from this, but you know what? I think the world, I think the people, I think the millions and millions of people want to know what's your opinion, what's going on right now. Break it down. Give me the Nubian Sumo report.
Well, right now, things in wrestling are going very well. I mean, the state of professional wrestling right now is at an all-time high. I mean, and people were saying that last year. But I mean, you got all these crossovers and whatnot that are going on at the moment with Mercedes Moné goes over to CMLL last night to a Fantastica Mania and makes an appearance against the woman that she's going to be wrestling for against defending her TBS championship against at Forbidden Door, Stephanie Vacour. I mean, you got Joe Hendry going over to NXT. You got Jordan Grace going over to NXT. You got, all this back and forth between TNA and NXT going on. You got, I mean, it's crazy, and it's good for business. So, I mean, you got all this speculation going on. Nobody can guess or can say what is really going to happen next, so it's just wonderful. It's the way it should be. It's the way it's been in the past. It's a throwback to what used to be. You never knew who was going to show up in some territory back in the day, all of a sudden to make a jump in or to have a nice 6-month run or whatever the case may be. So it's a throwback to what I'm used to, of the wrestling that I loved back when I was younger. So I'm very much enjoying wrestling right now. Go ahead.
So do you think wrestling now compared to maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when we were talking about the wars of Nitro versus Raw, are we in a better place in terms of wrestling and access to wrestling than we were then?
Oh yeah, you got wrestling on television 7 days a week, regardless of whether you like it or you don't like it. I mean, you got NWA on free streaming every week. If you just need something, you got MLW on YouTube. As a matter of fact, MLW is about to start a show. They've already started a show. They started a show at 10 o'clock. It's on YouTube right now. Okay. Their anniversary show right now. You got, like I was saying, you got all this crossover, between WWE and NXT, MLW, Game Changer Wrestling. You got all this going on. You got you've got AAA and CMLL actually coming together and saying we're willing to work with each other. That's like the Bloods and the Crips saying, "Yeah, let's do this thing together." Come on, man.
That's crazy.
You got AEW. You got AEW bringing two organizations together that have never liked each other, that have never wanted to work together. There was a time when CMLL told Tony Khan, You cannot use our people on the same card as a triple A person, as a triple A wrestler. And
So do
now
you
that's not the case.
so do you think that's a process of them giving access and understanding that the access they have? Because you would have wrestlers that miss out on certain portions or certain pieces because they're not allowed to be on those on AEW. And I feel like AEW is the wrestling fans brand of wrestling.
It's it is definitely the alternative. You know, for those
Right.
who the wrestling world calls smart marks,
Right.
like myself and the rest of the guys on
Exactly.
rest of the people on this show, they would call us smart marks, and you know, you shouldn't be using our language, you know, because you've never been in the ring or you never put your body on the line or whatever. I mean, I get it. I get it. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, you got all these organizations who they trying to get their bag. You know, why you gonna mess the money up? You know, you got I mean, you get together and get along to get along. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why you gonna mess up your bag and the people that are under you their money because you can't deal with the next organization. I
All
mean,
right.
if y'all
So
two don't want to do anything together, that's one thing. But for them to go out and venture out into somewhere else and be able to make their trade, apply their trade, you know, that's something else altogether.
Sumo, if you don't mind, I'm gonna have a Joe the fan moment because when I talk to wrestling to people, especially you're on a different level than anybody I ever talk wrestling to. So I got a couple questions, especially in the AEW world. So when we talk AEW, do you feel like I know they lean heavy into the wrestling fan part, but do you think it's sustainable for them to keep leaning so heavy in the smart mark world as an organization?
Like their main commentator likes to say, you got to give the people what they want.
Okay.
If if you're gonna be sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
you got to listen to your audience. I mean, you
But
got to. I
let me
mean,
ask you this: is that audience, especially the smart marks, are they big enough to make you viable for the future?
well, at this point, you know, they're still looking for they're still trying to build their fan base. You know, they
Right.
are lacking as far as television ratings are concerned, but they do have a following. I mean, ECW was the same way. You know,
Right.
ECW didn't have television. They had pretty much word of mouth and tape trading.
Yep. Yep.
So I mean, and that was the way it was with a lot of territories back in the day. You didn't have access to everybody. You only found out through wrestling magazines, dirt sheets, people talking about what they saw on television. From you know, if you got a friend that was in Georgia
Mm-hmm.
and you're in DC and you like, man, did you see what happened on Georgia Championship Wrestling? Did you see Flair do such and such? No, I didn't. You know, I ain't got that up here. Well, let me tell you what happened. You know, that type thing. So now, I mean, now it's at your fingertips, but you
Right.
still have to get somebody that likes your product. And in order for somebody to like your product, you got to give them what they're looking for. You have to give them what they want.
Mm.
So Tony Khan is a fan. First off, he's a
Right.
fan. That's the reason why he got into the. That's why he got into the business because he's a fan first. So he's listening to the crowd and he's saying, you know, yeah, this is. I see that this is something that they're interested in. Let me see how this can work. And let me see how this can work out. So I mean, it's all a process of elimination. You throw something against the wall, see if it sticks. If it doesn't, then you got to wait to work it out. If it does, then you keep going with it. As Paul Heyman likes to say, you accentuate the positive and you hide the negative. It's just the way it is. It's business.
So, did you see the Acclaim entrance the other night where Okada, I guess he didn't know how to work the system and the music didn't play and the microphones didn't work?
Right. Yeah.
How did you feel
That was
about that?
Well, it's a mixed bag when it comes to that for me because first of all, it was funny. It was funny to me, because Okada's comedy timing, which has not come out until now, has been on point. His comedy timing is on point. He's using the word bitch like Ron Simmons uses damn.
Yes. Okay. All right. I like that.
Okay. He's coming off with this, he be like, oh, I'm sorry, bitch. It's just funny. It's just funny, Now, at first, I was like, okay, you've got this multiple time IWGP World Champion that it was pretty much the ace, the face of New Japan Pro Wrestling for at least 10 years. Then you bring him into AEW and you turn him to a mid-carder. You give him a belt that you pretty much put together for him. I mean, you originally gave it to Eddie Kingston, but you created that belt for him. And then you just put him in with the Young Bucks and have him as like, a comedy gimmick. But now it's starting to work. Maybe it's because you've seen it. The song that you first heard that you never liked, that you did not like, but now you've heard it so many times, you're starting to bop to it now. Oh yeah, that's my jam now. This is what's starting to happen. People are starting to see he's got a. You know who I compare. You know who I really compare it to. I'm comparing it to Ron Killings, R-Truth.
Oh, okay. So like whenever he
Ron the Truth Killings before he got to WWE was a 2-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Before they recognized Bobo Brazil as winning the NWA World Championship back in '62, he was the first black NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Mm-hmm. You never hear them talk about that. And now he's on WWE as this comedic wrestler, well, my bad, little Jimmy and all this and that, it's almost like they watered him down and they, just have him there for comedy fodder. Right. But it works. You know what I'm saying? It works. Just like with Okada. Okada's this big name over in Japan and whatnot, and then they turn around and they do this comedic thing with him. They since he came into AEW, have you once heard them talk about him being IWGP World Champion?
Not that I can think of. No.
Not once. And it's the same thing they did to R-Truth. So, yeah, the comedic thing is growing on me. I'm waiting for him to actually break off and turn heel for real. Okay. At some point. But at this point, I mean, I guess it works, between him being there. He's just there. I mean, he's not even like their heater right now. is in the elite, Jack Perry is their heater. How that works, we'll have to see. But
Mm-hmm.
he's just there to be almost, not that they need it, but give them clout as far as the elite is concerned. Because the elite had kind of fallen off with Kenny being hurt and Hangman Page leaving and not and disappearing and whatnot. So I mean, the actual group, the elite, had fallen off. So Okada actually gives them some clout as
Right.
to, yeah, we need to remind you of who we actually are. We can attract an IWGP World Champion that was the face of their company for all those years and make him elite. So again, long term booking. We'll just have to see what happens when it comes to that.
All right. So, I mean, you normally do a segment with that's just sumo or that's just Nubian, where you talk about the other wrestling leagues in the world. So, like, take us outside of AEW, take us outside of WWE. What else is in the world for us as wrestling fans?
Well, right now, like I said, MLW is having their anniversary show tonight. Um, Satoshi Kojima is going to be defending his belt tonight against Tom Lawler, which should be an interesting fight for them. I mean, it's interesting because um, Kojima was just in Japan last night, so he may be a little jet lagged. So, because with the time difference and everything, but we'll have to see where that goes. They got a lot going on tonight on their show, so it'd be something for you to watch. Turn on right now and kind of listen to it while you're listening to us. But that because I'm going to be turning it on when we get done. You got New Japan, who has recently finished their Best of the Super Junior tournament, where the winner wound up being El Desperado, and El Desperado wound up beating Taji Ishimori, who's a member of the Bullet Club, for that honor, and wrestling and will be wrestling for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. But there was a title defense of the Junior Heavyweight Championship on the 16th, where Sho, the champion, defended the championship against El Desperado, and El Desperado wound up winning. So he's got the belt now. He's supposed to get the title shot at Wrestle Kingdom, and now if things go the way he wants them to, he'll be going into Wrestle Kingdom as Junior Heavyweight Champion, and will pretty much be able to take his pick as to who he wants to defend the title against. So, very interesting turn of events because they usually don't do that. They usually have him go the champion, the Best of the Super Junior winner usually goes on through the rest of the year and maybe defend the title shot against certain people until he gets to Wrestle Kingdom. But now the Best of the Super Junior winner now has the belt. So we'll just have to see where that goes. And then you got Forbidden Door that's coming up. You got John Moxley, who is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion right now, defending the belt against Tetsuya Naito. And I'll do this for Don since he's not here. So he's probably going to be listening. Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Say that again.
That's Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Los Inquenables.
Ingobernables.
Okay. I like that.
Ingobernables is Spanish for ungovernable.
Okay.
So the ungovernables of Japan is how that translates.
So I think I sent you a note, but I have this thing where I always think about the factions in sports entertainment. Um, where are we in terms of factions? Because there was like Bullet Club, like there was a minute where we always knew who the factions were, and I think because we've entered into a world where everybody in wrestling has factions and has their things, like what's the factions that we should be concerned about or on the top of our list?
Well, Bullet Club is all over the place right now. I mean,
Okay.
you got different offshoots of Bullet Club within New Japan. You've got a couple of guys that are considered Bullet Club in TNA. You got Anderson, Gallows, and AJ Styles, who keep the Bullet Club thing going, even though they don't call themselves Bullet Club. You got Jay White, who started out the faction with him and the Gun and
Right.
the Gun Brothers, and Juice Robinson as Bullet Club Gold, but now they call themselves the Bang Bang Gang because they probably got a cease and desist from New Japan
Right.
to not use Bullet Club. So, I mean, Bullet Club is just all over the place right now. I mean, it would be wonderful for them all to get together and do something and take over wrestling like they had at one time. But just like with the NWO, it got too big and people started to split off and do their own thing. So we'll just have to see. Then you have another faction within New Japan called the United Empire that
Yep.
was led by Will Ospreay before he left. And so they're kind of rudderless right now. It looks like TJP is stepping up as the de facto leader um, of United Empire within New Japan and keeping everybody together there. You would think that AEW would have an offshoot of United Empire with Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis being injured, but coming back at some point, and maybe bringing in some other members to form an American version of the faction. So we'll just have to see what goes on with that because right now you got Kyle Fletcher, who's with part of the Don Callis family, and with Will Ospreay kind of dissing the Don Callis family. Uh, Kyle Fletcher's kind of caught in the middle as to, okay, do I stick with Ospreay or do I stick with Don Callis? So we'll just have to see where that goes because where Fletcher goes, I'm sure Mark Davis will go when he comes back
Okay.
because him and Fletcher are a tag team. So
Right.
we'll just have to see where that goes. Um, Other than those two, I mean, those are the two that really stand out as far as being spread out. Uh, you do have the Los Gubernables faction, the main faction coming out of CMLL, which Los Gubernables de Japón is part of. Um, Andrade being an original member of the faction in CMLL, being in WWE, Roosh being an original member, being in AEW, along with the Tetsuya Naito and all of that in Japan. So I mean, and then on top of that, you got Roosh who has started his offshoot, which is La Facción Ingobernable, that started in
Mm-hmm.
Ring of Honor, that included both of his brothers, Dralistico, who is in Ring of Honor, and Dragon Lee, who is a part of Raw now, WWE. So I mean, it's just spread out. So it'd be interesting to see Andrade getting together with Dragon Lee and maybe turning WO into a faction of Los Ingobernables. But it would be interesting to see, But my thing is, as far as Bullet Club, going back to Bullet Club, WWE right now, if you think about it, has at least 6 members of the original 8 members of Bullet Club in WWE. And for them to get together at some point and just run roughshod over WWE and do it like an invasion, like a WCW invasion, or when they did the NWO in WWE, that would be something. I would definitely enjoy seeing Anderson, Gallows, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Hikuleo when he finally shows up. And after that, okay, that's it. That's everybody. So that's 7 right there that could run roughshod over all of the WWE at some point. So yeah, it would be great to see that.
So do you think, I mean, with Triple H at the helm, do you think Triple H would even allow that moment to happen? Because Triple H is a wrestling fan through and through. And I think that's why we've seen some of the crossovers we've seen with what's her name? The young lady that came over to NXT, Grace?
Jordan Grace, yeah.
Yeah. So we've seen some crossovers. So do you think Triple H is that open-minded that what you're talking about, will we be able to get there in the future?
I think we can. I think he would be up for it. I think he would be. I think it's just a matter of setting up the storylines to where they can put those 7 together.
So do we sacrifice? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but do we sacrifice?
No. Go ahead and ask the question because it's a good question. Go ahead.
Do we sacrifice the bloodline angle for the Bullet Club angle? Because I think those 2 angles end up fighting each other because of the members involved.
See, here we go with here's where the long-term booking comes in. Okay. You have your bloodline feud.
Right.
You let them have the feud. Bloodline versus original bloodline. Go ahead.
So you said bloodline. So are we talking bloodline versus original bloodline? Are we talking Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, the Usos versus the Fatu, Tonga, and Sikoa? And before I even ask that, let me ask a different question. Is Solo Sikoa good enough on the mic that he can lead a faction? So answer Solo as a leader on the mic first, and then go to the faction question.
Okay. I will liken it to early Bullet Club. Okay. When Finn Balor then was Prince Devitt, wound up leaving New Japan. It left an opening as a leader. Who's going to be the leader? They brought in AJ Styles and put the IWGP Heavyweight Championship on AJ Styles. Everybody considered AJ Styles to be the leader because he had the belt. But
Right.
AJ Styles didn't hardly say 2 words the whole time he was in Bullet Club. He didn't have to because Carl Anderson was the voice of the Bullet Club. He was the one who was doing all the talking for the Bullet Club. So I liken that to Bloodline 2.0. Solo has to be Solo. Solo has never really talked until now. Solo hasn't had to. Solo has just had to be that ass kicker, that enforcer. But now he's the leader. And he has to lead with an iron fist. But he doesn't necessarily have to talk. He needs somebody to talk for him. So
but we had Solo talk to John Cena, and Cena crushed him in that moment.
Everybody gets crushed by John Cena.
Okay.
Name one person that has gone into a storyline or a series with John Cena that didn't get crushed on the mic by him. That's just right. John Cena. He does that.
I think the only person I can think of is The Rock.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing. You don't have to be the voice to be the leader.
Right.
You don't have to be the voice to be the leader. You don't have to speak to lead. You only have to lead your people. So my thing is this, and this is long-term booking, like we talk about all night. Here's my situation. Here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Survivor Series. War Games. Okay. Solo. So and this is my original. So this has been blown out of the water because of what happened Friday night. Last night. Okay. So I've had to adjust a little bit, but this is what my original thought. Solo, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa. Who was Hikuleo? Because Hikuleo is done with WWE in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they've already gotten the trademark for his new name. So all 3 of Tama Tonga's of Haku's sons, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Hikuleo, Solo Sikoa, and The Rock versus Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Jacob Fatu, and Zilla Fatu. That's been blown out of the water because Jacob is now with 2.0.
Right.
So now I'm thinking substitute Hikuleo with Jacob Fatu. So you got Solo, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, Jacob Fatu, and The Rock with Rikishi as your mouthpiece.
Right.
Against Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Hikuleo, and Zilla Fatu with Paul Heyman
as their mouthpiece. So here's the question. Solo
will eventually get rid of Paul Heyman and will replace him with his father. It's going to be just like The Godfather.
So with the there's a trademark that was out there about Caesar Sikoa. So who is Caesar Sikoa, when it comes to the WWE realm?
Caesar Sokoa is either going to be a moniker for Solo. So instead of calling himself the head of the table, he'll be Caesar.
Caesar. Okay.
Or Caesar Sokoa will be Rikishi's new name.
I like that. Okay.
Because think about it. A lot of the people that are watching WWE these days don't really know who Rikishi is.
Mm-hmm.
They only know Rikishi because he's the Usos' dad and Solo's dad. But he could come in as Caesar, just like when Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik was Iron Sheik all those years, right? Then he comes back under Sergeant Slaughter when Sergeant Slaughter becomes an Iranian sympathizer, and he comes back as Colonel Mustafa.
Okay.
Same thing. They know it's Rikishi, but he's not Rikishi.
Right. He becomes somebody else. And I
becomes
guess
somebody.
in that new advent, we recreate Rikishi because he's not the blonde-haired dude in the spandex and the thong. He becomes a whole different order or feature because he recreates himself in the margins.
Think about how many characters Rikishi has been in WWE.
Right.
He was a head shrinker.
Right.
He was the Sultan under the mask.
All right.
So I mean, this is wrestling. You have to reinvent yourself every now and again. And walking around dancing with the sunglasses, Rikishi is not going to be a good fit for a Bloodline 2.0 that's going around and terrorizing the WWE. So you
he's
repackage
himself into an angle.
He can. It could be because there's also rumor out here that mouthpiece could be Haku.
Oh, they're gonna break a fourth wall if it's Haku.
I mean,
that's where that's where the Tonga line comes in with Haku, right?
Right. Haku is the father of two members of the bloodline.
Okay. But the only problem is, do we get better mic skills from Haku being the father of the bloodline as opposed to having Rikishi? Because I think Rikishi, even though his best line is "I did it for The Rock," but I think he has more as a mouthpiece than "I did it for The Rock" than anything else.
Yeah, he does. I mean, Rikishi was good on the mic. He was good enough on the mic.
Right.
And he was also great as a heel.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, with Rikishi it works. With Haku, maybe not so much. But because Haku right now,
been the fighter.
He's always been the silent but deadly guy. Right. But see, right now you got Solo, who's like, okay, I need, just like Michael Corleone. That's why I compared it to The Godfather. When Michael Corleone came to Hagen and was like, look, you're my brother. You've done a lot for this family. You will always be a part of this family. But I need a wartime consigliere, and you're not him.
So is that, you know what, the way you said that just now makes me think that the way the bloodline with Sokoa separates themselves from the wise man is what you just said.
Yes. Definitely.
So they separate themselves from him as saying like he's not the person that can take us to the future, and then another mouthpiece comes in, and I don't remember Rikishi as well as a mic person, but if he can be the mic person, then that would accelerate, because now we get more than this Usos versus the Tongas, or however you want to look at it. You get more of, because Heyman becomes part of the other bloodline or the Usos, or however you want to talk about it. So he becomes their mouthpiece, and then Rikishi becomes the other side's mouthpiece, and now we're fighting, or we're battling in Samoa.
Solo's main concern with Paul Heyman is his loyalty to Roman Reigns.
Right.
He's not really loyal to Solo because he's scared of Solo. He can't control Solo. Roman listens to Paul Heyman. Solo does not listen to Paul Heyman. So Paul Heyman at some point, I mean, it's showing, because you got Paul Heyman Friday night coming out to Cody Rhodes and saying, "Man, you need to go. You need to leave right now, because if you stick around, these three motherfuckers gonna come in here and whoop your ass to oblivion."
You know what? And that was the perfect facade, because he made it seem like it was only them, and that's how we got Jacob. That's how we got Jacob Fatu in the story.
He didn't know about Jacob. That's the thing. He didn't know.
Right.
He didn't know.
And
he was just as surprised as everybody else was. And that's why I'm saying Solo cannot trust Paul Heyman.
But Solo
so
also,
that's why we can tell him.
But no. Solo also did yeoman's work, because he made himself look weak in a moment when he knew what was happening next. Like, because for me, I was like, "Oh, what is Solo doing?" And then he when he was sitting in the corner and he had that look in his face, and he was like, "Oh, like I know something."
Yeah, he's like, "Gotcha, bitch."
Right. That moment was electric. Like I always go back. I always talk about wrestling, and like there are these moments where you as a wrestling fan think you haven't figured out, and or you don't know where they're going next. And I think Friday night, Solo sulking in the corner, I bought into it. I can't lie. I bought all in on him being in the corner and not having like a way out of it. And then the second he smiled, I was like, these motherfuckers got me. Excuse my language, but yeah, they got me.
No, that's why the show is unhinged. That's why we do this show, because we can't talk like this on the TV. That's why we do this. So, hey, a great wrestler once said, "When you think you have all the answers, I just changed the course."
And you know what? That was a perfect wrestling moment.
Yeah. Kayfabe.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knew that Jacob Fatu was signed to the WWE. Right. You just didn't know when he was coming and in what way. Because like I said, I'm thinking they're going to hold on to Jacob until they bring Roman Reigns back. And he's going to be part of Roman Reigns' side.
Right.
But they put him with Solo.
So here's where I get scared. So the Jacob side of it is, I've heard that Jacob is great on the mic. And I wonder if Jacob actually supplants Sikoa, and Sikoa has to go back to the other side, because those are his brothers.
That could happen, which is why I brought up my original thought, because it can still happen. It's the inkling that's still there. Because I mean, think about it. You bring Hikuleo into the situation. Hikuleo, young, he's only been in the business maybe 3-4 years, but he is the brother of Tama Tonga and Tongaloa.
Right.
That's a six-man unit right there. That was formerly part of the Bullet Club in New Japan.
So I think of it this way. So I think of it like because Solo is so anemic on the mic that they actually like phase him out of the bloodline, and he has to. They actually made, because of Jacob Fatu's unsustainability or his ability to be a flight risk, he like goes off and he kicks Sikoa out of the group because he's not strong enough to lead.
It's possible, but I don't think it'll happen. Okay. I think they're going to keep Solo as leader. They keep Solo as leader.
I just think his mic skills are too weak. That the reason they brought Jacob in as a mute, but as a dominant character, I think they have some reservations about Solo being a dominant character.
You will not hear two words. I doubt you will hear two words out of Jacob Fatu's mouth anytime soon.
Not for at least
they're gonna treat him just like they treat Tama Tonga.
Yep.
He doesn't need to say much. I mean, if he says anything at all, it's gonna be a threat to somebody that he about to whoop their ass. If anything, yep. That's it. You're not gonna hear too much. You're not gonna hear too much from Jacob, other than the fact that he's about to go after somebody. That's it. As far as where the bloodline is going to go, as far as where the storyline goes, that's going to be Solo, and eventually it'll be Rikishi.
Okay.
To where Solo won't even have to say anything. Solo is going to lead everybody else, where Rikishi is going to be the mouthpiece and guide Solo to where he needs to go, is to lead everybody else.
Okay. All right, big dog, take us home. What we got left? Like, let's wrap it up. Tell the people what they need. Tell them what they want. Let's give them something looking forward to for next week.
Well, let's see. This guy, wait a minute, what? I still ain't got used to that thing when they do that. I still haven't gotten used to that.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It just pops up out of the blue in the midst of. I mean, that's Don for you, boy. I tell you, I don't know, but anyway. But yeah, you got Forbidden Door coming up next weekend, next Sunday, which should be a great see. Anybody that want to watch that, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. That Will Ospreay Swerve Strickland match is gonna be epic. I mean, they've had some great matches in PWG that I've seen, and some other smaller independents. So if they do half of what they've done on those shows, that's going to be a great match. That whole card looks like it's going to be pretty good all the way around. I'm actually looking forward to the Tony Storm and the Mina Shirakawa match for the women's title. Because I want to see. There's so much going on with that storyline. I want to see where Maya May is going to end up as far as who she's going to choose, what side she's going to choose to be on. I'm hoping that the three of them get together and they end up going after Soraya, and her faction, her little faction that she got going on. But because the three of them pretty decent together, in my opinion. Um, Again, you have the pay per view that's going on right now with MLW that should be interesting to watch. You got a lot of going on with New Japan as far as them getting ready for their next big pay per view. It's coming up on July the 5th. So be looking for that. They're in the middle of their New Japan Soul tour that they're doing, right, to get ready for that July 5th show. NWA is coming up with a pay per view. They got the Crockett Cup coming up as well, so you could be looking for that on the CW streaming app that they have, and it's free. So you can just load it up on your television or your phone and check that out. So there's a lot going on as far as wrestling is concerned. Enough to keep you going, and we'll be here for it. So just keep an eye on us and keep an eye on that, and we'll be here for you.
So for tonight, thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you don't catch this live and you catch us on the streams, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Podbean, whether it's any of the intellectual properties that the WrestleManiacs are on, we thank you for your time. We thank you for your presence. He's the Nubian Sumo. I'm the Midnight Rider. In the words of KG, we don't do no overtime, but we are out of here.